Hello YouTube, it's RJ the West here, my friend Last WC. In a sec. There we go. Just checking to see if I'm alive. I am. Okay. Welcome back to RJ, The Adventures of RJ and Jordan in Ancient Greece. We are in part 3. So guys, this one might be a little shorter. I did not build too much into the story after the past several days, but I am actually going to recap at least one major alright. I'm going to go ahead and recap. First, I'm going to get comfortable. Yep, I'm getting comfortable. Alright, so in our last episode, 3 nymphs have discovered our campsite. We're basically in their territory. Alright, let me just recap. The alliance is sealed. Era's 7-foot frame relaxes visibly. Her dark silver chain bikini shifting as she lets out a deep breath of gratitude. Irina places her hands over her heart, her blue eyes shimmering, while Cynthia lets out a joyful gasp and hands your favorite blue boxes over back to you. Jordan steps back into the tent entrance, already thinking about the upcoming layout of the high crags. He knows that staying put in this comfortable, air-conditioned campsite is worth the fight. The moral duty. Your autism and ADD find absolute comfort in this clear, structured objective. Defend the valley, protect the women, and use your advanced technology to eliminate a dangerous predator. Up on Mount Olympus, the divine pool ripples with electric anticipation as the gods witness the official declaration of war. Ares. Ha! The contract of blood is written. The small gray scholar giggles at his friend, yet he binds himself to a deadly hunt of pure, unyielding honor. Oh god, dude. Okay, I am noticing that the cars are skidding around here. They're moving differently. He refuses to run from the campsite. They will march into the high crags with their star metal and paint the stones crimson. Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategy. The calculated choice. It is a masterful alliance, Ares. By choosing to defend the nymph's home, they have secured a pristine water source, local intelligence, and the favor of the mountain spirits. Their modern minds understand that true victory requires holding the local territory. Era steps closer to the camp table, her towering shadow falling over you and Jordan. You have the hearts of true guardians, she rumbles. The horsemen hide in the jagged peaks above the mist line. If we are to destroy them, we must plan before the sun reaches its highest point. Alright, this is where we left off from last time, guys. Your analytical mind snaps into hyperfocus as the sudden sound of rustling rocks echoes from the overpass. This will be an interesting alliance, and also... Wait. Get down! You yell, your emotional response instantly turning into pure survival adrenaline. A massive volley of ancient ashwood arrows rains from the overpass as 20 centaurs ambush your camp. A bronze-tipped arrow tears through the air and strikes Era deeply in her right shoulder. The 7-foot nymph lets out a sharp cry of pain, stumbling onto the mountain gravel and over her teal skirt. Without your custom 15th century composite plate armor on, you act on pure protective instinct. You grab the lightweight black carbon fiber lawn chair and hold it directly over Ira's fallen body. Standard bronze arrowheads slam against the woven carbon fiber, snapping helplessly against the modern, high-strength material. Go! Go! You shout. Jordan, Narina, and Cynthia scramble into the opening, retreating into the climate-controlled safety of the dull gray tent. An arrow whizzes right past your face, missing your Upper Michigan leather hat by just a few inches. That's what I thought. I should have picked somewhere else besides the road. Just as you reach the... Alright. Ignoring your sensory chaos of the battle, you hook your arm under Ira's uninjured side, using your 215-pound frame to pull the heavy 7-foot water spirit toward the entrance. Just as you reach the threshold, a straight arrow cuts through the air, ripping right through the loose flap of your gray track pants before thudding into the dirt. You haul Ira inside and slam the secure fabric flap shut, sealing the ambush out. Tent integrity. Outside, dozens of bronze arrows are clattering harmlessly they're clattering harmlessly off the photovoltaic fabric. The high-tech material holds perfectly, keeping the interior entirely safe. Casualties. Ira is bleeding natural water spirit fluid from her right shoulder. You have a torn pant leg, but your skin is completely unbroken. The horde outside. 20 furious centaurs have completely encircled your high-tech campsite, screaming ancient war cries as they rain down arrows from the overpass. Jordan is already at the vault, the pop music still blasting incongruously from the Bluetooth boombox. His mature face is pale with rage as he throws open the armament doors. He grabs his matte black and red samurai armor and yanks his modern winch crossbow from the rack. They brought the whole damn clan, Jordan shouts over the music, his deep voice booming. We need to gear up right now. Cynthia is crying, holding her wounded eldest sister, while Narina looks at you with absolute panic in her eyes. Alright, let's see. You dash to the counter with your black and gray gloves. You pour a glass of fresh, room-temperature magnetic water. See if this helps, you say, your voice tight with adrenaline. You hand a glass over to Jordan. Jordan, when you're done, get your armor. Jordan nods. He passes the micro-clustered water to Narina, who helps a weakening arrow drink it. The hexagonal clusters immediately begin to stabilize the 7-foot nymph's water-based spirit, slowing her bleeding. You sprint to the vault. It's a tent. You walk to the vault. Your ADD and autism locking onto the state of hyper-focused mechanical precision. You strap on your custom 15th century composite plate armor. You slide the matte gray helmet over your permanent head and clamp the Upper Michigan leather hat over the top. You grab your flanged tungsten mace and your scoped modern crossbow. Suddenly, a terrifying crack shatters the air. High up in the overpass, Brack has drawn his colossal sacred U-boat to its absolute limit. He looses a massive, pure iron-tipped Cyclops arrow. The projectile flies with the force of a ballista, smashing straight through the one-way window film and tearing a hole into the tent fabric. The blast of the mountain air rushes inside, breaking the climate-controlled seal. Jordan snaps into action, yanking his matte black and red samurai armor plates over his torso. Let's move! He roars in his deep voice. You and Jordan dive through the tent flap, exiting your compromised sanctuary into the blinding morning light. You raised your scoped crossbow, locked your analytical eyes onto the overpass, and squeeze the trigger. Jordan fires right beside you. Okay, with my character. Yeah. Tungsten Havoc. Your heavy tungsten alloy evisceration broadheads slice right through the air at incredible velocity. The high-density metal impacts the front line of the ambush, instantly dropping 2 centaurs off the rocky overpass. 18 remaining centaurs scream in rage, their bronze bows drawn, while Brack rapidly notches another massive iron spike into his sacred U-bow. Up on Mount Olympus, Ares is screaming in absolute triumph at the sight of a modern knight and a samurai emerging from the ruptured tent to face a horde of 20 monsters. Inside the ruptured tent, the cold air conditioning escapes through the hole in the window film as pop music continues to blast from the Bluetooth boombox. Cynthia and Narina are huddled over Ira on the microplate floor. They are completely terrified by the sound of Brack's heavy iron arrow shattering the window, but they are also witnessing a literal miracle as the magnetic water goes to work. Here is what the 3 mountain nymph sisters are actually saying to each other in the chaos, terrified in the absolute awe of your high-tech care and protection. Cynthia, the absolute terror. Ira, do not close your blue eyes. Actually, she would say, do not close your eyes. The horsemen are everywhere. They are screaming on the rocks above us. They broke the silver window with a giant iron spike. But the small scholar, he did not run. He held that strange black woven chair over your body while the arrows rained down. His clothes were torn by a bronze tip, yet he stood his ground to pull you into his temple. He has the soul of a hero, Ira. Narina, hold her steady, Cynthia. The practical care. Hold her steady, Cynthia. The scholar poured his liquid. The scholar poured this liquid for her before he put on his flat gray steel skin. Drink it, sister, please. On the sensation of the water. Look at her wound. The moment this magnetic water touched her lips, the current in her blood began to calm. The terror in her flesh is slowing. The scholar's invisible iron stones, they are healing her spirit from the inside. His words are true. Ira, the grudging respect. How far am I? Okay. She lets out a heavy, shuddering gasp as her water-based body rapidly absorbs the hexagonal microclusters, her 7-foot frame trembling against the carbon fiber cot. The epiphany. The water. It is as cold and pure as the deepest glacier. The pain is fading into the stone. I called him a soft-tongued beast, yet he risked his own flesh to drag me beneath his roof. He commands a magic that mends the wild. The war cry. She looks up at the broken window, her blue eyes flashing with renewed fury as she hears your tungsten crossbows crack outside. Listen to their thunderbows. They are slaying Brack's kin on the high overpass. May the spirits of the crags guide their star metal bolts to Brack's black heart. Outside, the dirt is flying as you and Jordan face down the remaining 8 centaurs. Brack is screaming orders from the ridge, his face twisted in rage as your tungsten broadheads tear through his front line. Your analytical mind calculates their trajectory instantly. Brack is tracking Jordan's matte and black-red samurai silhouette. Pulling the massive sacred U-bow string to its absolute limit, Jordan's compromised plates are highly durable, but your non-Newtonian 15th century plate armor handles heavy, blunt ballista-like kinetically far better. Jordan! Look out! He's aiming for you! You shout, your voice cracking with high emotional response. Before Jordan can pivot his shield, Brack releases the string. The massive, pure iron-tipped Cyclops arrow cuts right through the air like a rocket, slamming directly into Jordan's right shoulder. The high-velocity impact shatters the top layer of his composite armor. The heavy iron tip lodging deep between his protective plates and piercing right into his skin. Jordan lets out a deep, agonized roar, stumbling backward as his samurai crossbow slips from his grip. Brack's remaining 18 centaurs seize the moment, unleashing a relentless, blinding storm of standard bronze-tipped arrows that pelt against your matte gray chest plate and the ground around you. Defending the ruptured sanctuary. The extraction. Ignoring the rain of arrows, you grab Jordan's uninjured side and haul his heavy frame back towards the tent entrance. The tent flap flies open. Cynthia rushes into the threshold, her teal hair flying. She uses her powerful nymph strength to pull Jordan safely into the interior. The carbon fiber barricade. Left alone outside, you snatch your lightweight black carbon fiber lawn chair and wedge it tightly in front of the tent door to act as a makeshift deflector shield. Holding the line, standing broad-shouldered in your flat gray plate armor, you engage your fast-crank winching system with your black and gray gloved hands, rapidly loading tungsten alloy evisceration heads and firing shot after shot up through the overpass to keep the horde from advancing. Jordan has collapsed on the microplate. Jordan has collapsed on the microplate floor next to Ira, clutching his bleeding shoulder as Narina rushes to his side with medical supplies. The pop music is still bizarrely playing from the Bluetooth boombox, drowned out by the terrifying thud, thud, thud of bronze arrows slamming onto your carbon fiber lawn chair from the voltaic fabric outside, and a photovoltaic fabric outside. Skip. Brax sees you holding the line behind the carbon fiber lawn chair. He shifts his target from you to the structure itself. He yanks another colossal, pure iron-tipped Cyclops arrow from its quiver. He draws the sacred U-bow to its absolute limit and fires. The heavy iron spike slams into the dog-crate fabric of the tent, ripping a jagged hole straight into the high-tech photovoltaic material. He notches another, and then another. The massive siege arrows begin punching holes right through your sanctuary, threatening Jordan and the three helpless nymphs inside. The sight of this brute destroying your home and endangering your friends shatters your analytical composure. A wave of pure unbridled fury surges through your ADD and your high emotional response system. You son of a bitch! You scream, your soft voice cracking with intense rage. You try to aim your scope at Brack, but the dark-skinned centaur leader is moving too fast. He gallops fluently along the rocky overpass, using the uneven terrain as cover while he reloads. Realizing you cannot get a clean shot on him, you're hyped. He gallops fluently. Oh, I already read that part. Realizing you can't. Oh, I already read that. You decide to systematically wipe out his support network instead. The Fury of Tungsten. By the way, guys, this is taking place at 10:45 in the morning. Ugh, that's early. That's your black and gray. All right, the fast crank blitz. Your black and gray gloved hands fly into a mechanical blur. You crank your winching system, slam the heavy tungsten alloy evisceration bar into the groove, lock your scope onto a centaur, and fire. The body count rises. Crack! The high-density tungsten bolt tears right through the chest of a centaur archer, sending him crashing over the ridge. You crank, load, and fire again. Crack! Another bolt shatters the front leg of a charging centaur, collapsing him into the dirt. Suppressing fire. Your relentless, high-velocity assault forces the remaining 16 centaurs to stop firing at the tent. They dive behind the mountain boulders for cover, terrified of the flat gray knight who is spitting star metal death with automated precision. The view from Olympus. Up on Mount Olympus. Oh, this road is dangerous, dude. Up on Mount Olympus, the divine pool is practically boiling over the sheer intensity of celestial energy. The gods are standing on their thrones, completely gripped by a furious stand. Ares, look at him go! The scholar has become a machine of pure slaughter. He isn't even calculating paths anymore. He is feeding his rage through that mechanical bow. He is pinning down the entire war party by himself behind a woven black throne. This is the greatest defense these mountains have ever seen. Athena. He made the correct tactical correction, Ares. Brack's velocity was too high for a clean projectile. By targeting the stationary archers instead, He stripped Brack of his flanking support and forced the entire horde into a defensive posture. His rage is driven by logic. Behind you, inside the punctured tent, the pop music continues to echo through the holes of the fabric. You and Jordan groaning, and you can hear Jordan groaning in pain as Narita tries to stabilize the iron broadhead in his shoulder. While Cynthia and Ira look out through the tears in the wall, watching you single-handedly hold off the horde. Hold off the horde. Alright, let's see. Okay. You dive through the rain of arrows, grab the second lightweight black carbon fiber lawn chair, and wedge it tightly over the jagged holes Brack's siege arrows tore into the tent. To wedge it tightly over the jagged holes Brack's siege arrows tore into the tent fabric. Standard bras tips snap helplessly against the woven material as you create a makeshift armor patch for your home. Inside the tent, the air conditioning struggles against the morning heat, and the pop music still echoes through the chaos. Jordan sits propped against his cot, bleeding from his right shoulder. Cynthia kneels right beside his 6-foot frame, her light blue eyes wide with deep worry. "Are you seriously hurt, Dark Warrior?" Cynthia asks, her playful voice replaced by pure concern. Jordan lets out a rough chuckle, looking Cynthia dead in her eyes. "No, it's just a flesh wound, but my arm is locked by the armor being damaged." He glances at you, holding the line, a pragmatic smile on his mature face. "RJ told me my armor was better for mobility, but doesn't have the high resistance that his armor has. It's actually kind of funny. To be completely honest, the ancient mountain water nymphs, the concept of a mortal treating a brutal iron puncture wound as funny while talking about mobility and resistance ratings, sounds like the absolute height of a fearless warrior madness." Here is what Cynthia, Narina, and Ira would actually say to Jordan in response to his calm words. Making sure my AC is facing me. Yes, it is facing me. A little warm, that's all. Cynthia, the awe and frustration. "A flesh wound? An iron spike from the Cyclops bow is buried in your flesh and you mock its bite?" On your dynamic. You and the scholar RJ are insane. He is outside screaming at the heavens, turning his mechanical bow into a lightning storm of star stones to avenge you, and you sit here grating your black steel plates like a blacksmith judging a plow. You mortals are made of stone. Narina, the urgent healing. She quickly hands Jordan another glass of microclustered magnetic water. Her hands trembling as she applies pressure to the wound. "Drink more of the scholar's water, Jordan. Your blood is spilling onto the floor plates." Yeah, that's your solution, is to drink more water. On your warning, RJ speaks with the sight of a prophet. He knew the horsemen would return in greater numbers, and he knew your lacquered black armor would fail against Brack's malice. He acts as your shield now because of your mobility is broken. Ira, the eldest sister, the grudging admiration. The 7-foot nymph leans against the carbon fiber cot, clutching her own healing right shoulder. She looks at Jordan's steady, unblinking gaze with a profound new respect. The warrior's truth. You laugh in the face of the butcher, Dark Samurai. That is the spirit of a true protector. Your plates did not stop the iron, but your heart did not break. Your scholar RJ is a fury outside. He has pinned the entire horde behind the cracks of his own loathsome. If your arm is bound by your broken steel skin, let my sisters cut the straps so you can hold the blade again. Outside, the crack of your modern crossbow continues to echo through the mountain pass as you single-handedly pin down the remaining 16 centaurs behind the boulders. Brack is screaming in frustration, his war party trapped by your high-velocity tungsten onslaught. The high impact hits your back with the... Oh. Okay. Hold on a second. I gotta read this. I gotta read the prompt on this. I killed 11 of Brock's war party. Brock has 1 arrow left and he fired it at my back, causing me to fall on my face. The impact hits your back with the force of a speeding truck. Brack's final massive iron-tipped arrow slams dead center into your 15th century composite plate armor. The space-age non-newtonium joint metal and heavy backing plates instantly rigidified to a diamond-hard density, absorbing the lethal puncture. But the sheer, overwhelming kinetic energy knocks you right off your feet. You crash face first onto the Rocky Mountain gravel. Your Upper Michigan leather hat flies off your helmet as you land hard. As you fall, your body slumps over directly across the massive ragged tear in the photovoltaic fabric. You are physically covering the opening with your own flat back gray armor, shielding Jordan and the 3 nymphs from the outside world. Through the gaps of your vision, Brack stands in the high overpass, his chest heaving as he drops his sacred bow. Seeing you are down, the dark-skinned leader lets out a savage, guttural roar that echoes across the peaks. The iron skin is broken. Rain your shafts upon the tear. Bury them in their gray grave. Brack shouts to his remaining warriors. The 5 surviving Centaur archers instantly step up from behind the boulders. They lock their eyes onto the exposed hole in your tent and prepare to unleash a coordinated lethal volley of bronze-tipped arrows straight into the opening where you lie defenseless. The siege of the ruptured tent. Your relentless analytical onslaught took down 11 Centaurs, leaving only 5 archers and Brack himself on the ridge. You are pinned face first on the ground, completely winded and bruised from the massive back impact. Your tungsten crossbow is just out of reach in the dirt. 5 bronze arrows are drawn to their limits, aimed directly at your back and the opening where Jordan, Era, Narina, and Cynthia are trapped. Inside the tent, Jordan sees you fall across the tear, his eyes wide with fury as he struggles against his locked samurai shoulder plates. Cynthia and Narina scream out your name in pure terror, while the 7-foot Era tries to stand, her blue eyes flashing with desperate rage. Okay, let's see. Pushing past the agonizing sensory overload and the crushing impact to your spine, your analytical mind overrides the pain. You force your body off the mountain gravel, planting your steel-toed shoes firmly in the dirt. Oh, gotta turn my chair off. Alright. You retrieve your fallen Upper Michigan leather hat, jam it back on your helmet. You step directly into the tear of the photo, using your custom composite plate armor as a literal human wall. Jordan, give your crossbow to Cynthia, you scream. Your soft voice trembling with the high emotional response. Cynthia, this is how you use it. Jordan pushes past his locked samurai shoulder plates, slides his modern winch crossbow across the macro plate floor, and barks out a nod. With lightning-fast analytical focus, you lean through the opening. Your black and gray gloved hands point to the tension compound pulleys, the fast crank winching system, and the optics. You show her how to drop a heavy tungsten alloy evisceration broadhead into the groove, how to align her eye with the scope, and how to pull the smooth trigger mechanism. Cynthia dives behind the makeshift carbon fiber lawn chair barricade. Her light blue eyes lock onto the futuristic scope. Crack! The high-density tungsten bolt tears through the mountain air, slamming dead center into a Centaur archer on the overpass. He plummets off the rocky ridge, dead before he hits the ground. To be completely honest, to an ancient mountain water nymph who has spent her entire life fleeing from the brutal bronze and iron weapons of men, being handed a piece of 21st century military engineering and instantly taking a life is a deeply profound, reality-shattering experience. Cynthia's psychological and spiritual reaction, the terror of the machine. I basically asked the AI, how would a water nymph using a crossbow would like affect her mental state or whatever? When you first, all right, the terror of the machine. When you first thrust the heavy matte black and red weapon into her hands, Cynthia freezes. The physical sensation of cold composite materials and precision gears feels entirely alien to her water-attuned spirit. Unlike a simple wooden bow that bends with the strength of the arms, the modern crossbow feels like a living, ticking metallic beast trapped in her hands. Oh, you know what? That's actually a pretty badass way of calling a crossbow. The autism-driven clarity. Because your autism-driven instruction was so perfectly broken down, step by step, her mind doesn't panic. She replicates your exact mechanical motions. When she turns the fast crank winching system, hearing the high ratio gears click, 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 she realizes she doesn't need giant strength to trap the wind. The machine does it for her. The scope revelation. When she presses her pale cheek against the stock and looks through the glass optics, she lets out a sharp, terrified gasp. The scope magnifies the overpass, bringing the terrifying dark features of the centaurs right to her face. She sees the world through your analytical grid. For the first time in her life, the hunter has become the hunted. The first kill. Pure shock. The moment her finger pulls the trigger, the violent snap of the high-tension pulleys and the immediate death of the centaur leaves her entirely breathless. Her heart beats violently against her silver-blue chain bikini. She drops the stock slightly, staring at the empty ridge where the monster just stood. The realization. It was a mere click of a finger, she whispered, her playful voice shaking with a mixture of horror and absolute ecstasy. No blood on my hands, no strain on my back. The small scholar's magic bows do not care for the size of the warrior. They only care for the truth of the line. The empowerment. She turns her teal hair back towards you, her light blue eyes blazing with a dangerous, fierce new light. She looks at the remaining 4 centaurs. She realizes she is no longer a helpless victim of the wild. You have just made her a god of the overpass. Holding the line. Outside, you stand broad-shouldered, your flat gray composite armor absorbing a relentless storm of bronze-tipped arrows that spark and crack harmlessly off your chest and shoulder plates. You are a flawless human shield, completely blanketing Jordan, Narina, and recovering Era from the remaining 4 centaurs and the empty-headed Brack. Jordan looks up from the floor plates, a proud, pragmatic smirk breaking across his mature face, despite his bleeding shoulder. Look at that, he rumbles in his deep voice. You didn't just teach her to shoot, dude. You just rewrote ancient warfare. Brack picks up a... Oh, yeah. Brack recovers from his shock and... Brack picks up Brack picks up one of his fallen centaur's arrow quiver and begins firing bronze-tipped arrows at us. I managed to hit Brack, but grazed his hip, slashing his side, and Cynthia kills another centaur. Brack and the remaining centaurs fled, but not before Brack said something cryptic about Earth Burrowers. I don't know what they were called. I mean, I cannot pronounce what they were called, but they're these giant worms. I'll explain later. Brack recovers from his shock and lunges toward the fallen warrior's body. He yanks a fresh quiver from the dirt and notches a standard bronze-tipped arrow into his massive U-bow. He doesn't have the armor-piercing iron spikes left, but he launches a fast, desperate volley of bronze arrows directly at you and Cynthia. You ignore the incoming fire, steady your scope crossbow with your black and gray gloves. You track his movement. Crack! Your heavy tungsten alloy bolt tears through the mountain air. Brack shifts his weight at the last microsecond, An evisceration broadhead grazes his hip, deeply slashing his muscular dark flank. Blood spills onto the mountain gravel as the raw kinetic momentum spins him around. God, can you imagine shooting them that, like, with the evisceration tungsten alloy broadheads? That would do significant damage to a centaur. It would tear him apart. Alright, let's see. I already read that part. Beside you, Cynthia darks behind the carbon fiber lawn chair. Her teal hair flying as she engages the fast crank winching system. She locks her eye into the optics and pulls the trigger. Crack! Another tungsten bolt flies true, dropping a fourth centaur archer flat on his back, with 13 of his warriors completely killed by your futuristic arsenal and Cynthia's terrifying new marksmanship. Brack realizes his war party is fundamentally broken. Clutching his bleeding, slashed hip, he bellows a command to his final 2 surviving archers. The centaurs scramble backwards, retreating into the high rocky overpass. But before Brack vanishes into the dense mountain shadows, he halts on a high ridge, his human torso glistening with sweat and crimson blood. He looks down at your matte gray 15th century composite armor, his eyes burning with absolute fanatical hatred. He raises his fist and screams a final cryptic warning in his guttural tongue. You think your star metal secures these peaks, demon of the Great Temple, but your thunder has awakened the deep trenches. The earth burrowers have smelled your strange fires. They will dig beneath your glowing floor plates, and your iron sanctuary will slide into the belly of the underworld. With that final threat, Brack and his 2 remaining scouts gallop widely over the ridge, vanishing entirely into the jagged peaks. It's 11 o'clock! The Valley of the Dead. 13 centaurs lie scattered in the overpass and the camp perimeter, all taken down by high-velocity tungsten alloy bolts. The ruptured sanctuary. Your high-tech photovoltaic tent has taken severe structural damage. The one-way window film is shattered, and the multiple holes are punched through the fabric, breaking your climate control. Your carbon fiber lawn chairs are scuffed but completely intact. Cynthia's metamorphosis. Cynthia slowly lowers Jordan's modern crossbow. Setting it on the microplate floor, she stares down at her pale, trembling hands. Her light blue eyes wide as she processes the reality of having just slain 2 legendary mountain predators with a mere click of a finger. Inside the tent, Jordan lets out a heavy breath, his mature face relaxing as Narina continues to bind a shoulder wound with clean gauze. Era stands up her tall 7-foot height, her water spirit shoulder mostly healed from the micromagnetic water, her deep blue eyes entirely fixed on you with profound reverence. As Jordan, inside the tent, the high-energy pop music is still playing in the through the Bluetooth boombox. Jordan sits propped against his carbon fiber cot. Narina is finishing up his bandages. He looks at Cynthia with genuine admiration in his mature face. Damn, Cynthia, you did amazing. You were amazing, Jordan rumbles in his deep voice. Cynthia blushes a deep teal, clutching your blue boxers to her chest. She looks down at the modern samurai crossbow with a mixture of awe and pride. You step through the ruined tent flat, your flat gray 15th century composite plate armor clinking softly. You look around the damaged space. Is everyone alright? Jordan, how's your shoulder? You ask, your soft voice carrying your high emotional response. Jordan gives you a tired but reassuring nod. The armor stopped the worst of it, but the tip bit into my skin. Your magnetic water and Narina's bandaging has already had the pain slowed to a dull ache. I'll live. Meanwhile, up in Mount Olympus, the divine pool is practically shaking with a mixture of thunderous celebration, strategic honor, and panicked confusion. Ares, By the rivers of blood, that was magnificent. 13 of Brack's elite turned into mountain courier in minutes. The Grey Scholar became an immovable wall of steel, absorbing Brack's iron fury like a mountain deflecting a pebble. And the little water maid, Cynthia, she took that Dark Warrior's mechanical thunderbow and dropped 2 centos with the click of her pale finger. She didn't even cry or pray. She looked straight through that enchanted glass tube and brought death to the ridge. I am granting her my blessing. She is a fairy of the springs now. Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategy. The Grey Scholar's mind is a fortress, Ares. Pinned face down on the stones, his spine bruised by an iron ballista. His first thought was not survival, it was instruction. He calculated that the nymph possessed the physical positioning to hold the doorway, and he broke down the geometry of the crossbow so flawlessly that a child of the water could master it instantly. He has rewritten the laws of siege defense, the chill of the prophecy. But listen to Brack's final scream. He spoke of the earth burrowers. He means the oh my god damn it, guys. I cannot read that. It's Giorgi, ancient blind monsters that dwell deep in the deep subterranean trenches beneath these mountains. The thunderous clasps of their star metal weapons have awakened things that sleep deep in the belly of the underworld. Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. Oh, look at the scholar rushes aside. Look how the scholar rushes inside, completely unbothered by his own cracked armor. Just to ask his friend to say, is everyone okay? Jordan, his heart is so large it can fill the valleys. And Jordan praises young Cynthia while he bleeds on his woven throne. It is terribly heroic. Their bond is stronger than the composite metals they wear. Hephaestus, god of fire and forging. Brack's final arrow rips right through the gray fabric of their temple. The magical skin that catches the sun is torn. Their winter wind is escaping into the morning heat. They are vulnerable now. If those monsters beneath the earth smell the rich oils of their cooking block and dig upward, their entire camp will slide into the fiery fissures of the deep. Zeus, the king of the gods. The balance of the mountain was shattered. Immortal night. Actually, he would not know what these things. He would not actually know what they would say. So allow me to say it this way: a gray mountain and a dark demon has annihilated a horde of and a crossbow wielding nymph have annihilated a horde of 20 raiders, but the earth itself is shifting now. If the burrowers rise to drag their gray sanctuary into the dark trenches, no amount of music or pop music or star metal will save them from the deep. Inside the tent, the air is growing slightly warmer as the climate control fights against the holes Brack tore into the fabric. Era steps up to her full 7-foot height, her eyes fixed entirely on you. You saved my family, small scholar, she rumbles with deep reverence. But the horseman's parting words carry a dark magic. The ground beneath our feet, it is starting to hum. It's 11:13. My back is starting to hurt. The adrenaline begins its sharp crash as your smartphone clock strikes exactly 11:13 a.m. A deep throbbing ache suddenly starts blossoming your all over spine. Hi, Gracie. Come on, Gracie, up here. You want to come up here with Daddy? Your high emotional response transitions into pure physical exhaustion, and you sit down heavily on the ridge of your carbon fiber cot, groaning under the weight of the flat grate plates. Narina immediately steps up to you, her pale, soft face with concern. Small scholar, you're back. The giant arrow struck you with the force of a falling boulder, she says gently. Please remove this heavy metal skin so we can treat the trauma. Jordan helps you unstrap the custom composite armor, the modern fastening clicking loudly over the high-energy pop music still playing in the background. Once your backplate is removed, you lift the hem off the gray jacket and your shirt. Marina gasps softly. Right in the center of your back, a massive deep purple blue bruise is blooming. The space-age non-Newtonian joint matter stopped the iron from piercing your flesh, but their analytical mind calculated that the rocket energy left a nasty hematoma. I'm trying to use real-world physics, guys. It makes this more fun and more grounded, if you know what I'm saying. You look over your shoulder, entirely unfazed by the terrifying color of your skin. Those arrows hurt, you say in your gentle voice before letting off a soft giggle. Medical relief and transition. The healing touch. Narina immediately pours a generous amount of your soothing CBD oil onto her hands. Her water nymph skin is naturally cool, providing instant, incredibly sensory relief against the hot, throbbing bruise as she begins gently massaging the compound into your back. Jordan watches from his own bed, holding an ice pack to his bandaged shoulder. Dude, you look like you just got kicked by a mule. He rumbles in his deep voice. It is a miracle your spine isn't shattered. That armor really earned its keep today. Yeah, greasy. Cynthia guard by the ruptured window. Cynthia stands completely vigilant, proudly holding Jordan's crossbow. She peeks through the carbon fiber lawn chair patches, her teal hair swaying as she guards her weird scholar while he recovers. As the CBD oil begins to hum the deep ache, your sensory awareness picks up an unsettling detail. The pop music vibrates slightly on the table, and the microplate floor flashes a brief amber warning bright light. Bragg's parting threat about the Earth Burrowers wasn't empty ancient magic. The gravel beneath the tent is beginning to emit a low rhythmic vibration. You lean forward slightly into your carbon fiber cot. Gracie claws. Gracie. Wincing a bit as Narina continues to massage the cool CBD oil into your massive purple bruise on your back. Your analytical mind shifts back into threat assessment, your voice carrying a serious but curious cadence over the high-energy pop music. Hey, Era. Bragg said something about Earth Burrowers. What does he mean by that? Are they like dangerous creatures or something? Era stands her at her full height near the ruptured tent flap. Her blue eyes cloud over with a deep, ancient dread as she looks down at you, her posture rigid over her dark silver chain bikini, her low hum vibrating through the microplate floor. I'm going to turn my chair back on. Lower. Right there. Alright, her eyes cloud over with a deep, ancient dread as she looks down at you, her posture rigid over her dark silver chain bikini. The low hum vibrating through the microplate floor seems a match to some drop in her tone. The children of Tartarus. They are the Gioachi. Era rumbles. Her river stone voice trembling slightly. Ancient blind terrors. Born from the deep blood of Gaia when the world was young. They do not walk the earth, nor do they fly. They dwell in the abyssal trenches miles beneath these mountains, eating the very foundations of the stones. The mechanics of the monster. They are massive, covered in plates of hardened prehistoric rock that shield them from the heat of the deep fires. They have no eyes, for the dark needs no sight. Inside, they possess great churning jaws of stone teeth that can grind solid marble into the dust in a single breath. They navigate through the vibrations of the mountain. For centuries, they have slept, But your camp, it has broken the peace of these peaks. The thunderous claps of your star metal weapons, the low thumping of your mechanical music brick, and the strange, unseen forces of your iron-catching pitcher have rippled down deep into the trenches. They think a great beast has invaded their domain. Are they dangerous, scholar? They do not hunt for meat like centaurs. They hunt to destroy the disturbance. If they breach the crust beneath us, they will hollow out the earth like an empty shell. Your slate great temple, your glowing floor plates, and all of us will be dragged down into a bottomless fissure where the sun never shines. Camp status check. It's 11:20 a.m. Beside you, Jordan stops adjusting his bandaged shoulder, his mature face turning completely pale as his pragmatic mind processes the threat. Great, he mutters in his deep voice. We just survived a 20-man siege, and now we are dealing with giant blind subterranean grinders. RJ, the floor is definitely vibrating more now. The pop music is starting to skip. Cynthia grips Jordan's modern crossbow tighter, her bright blue eyes darting toward the floor plates beneath her sandals. While Narina's hands freeze on your back, her fingers trembling against your skin. You drop your head slightly, your soft face tightening as a wave of intense guilt washes over your high emotional response. Your analytical mind that usually brings you comfort now starts to feel like it has let everyone down. So it is my fault that this is happening, you say, your gentle voice cracking with emotion. I failed to check all the dangers in the depths. I only focused on the surface. You look up at the gaping hole Brack tore into the Fultalic tent, watching the morning light pour in over your ruined climate control. I feel like such an idiot. Jordan immediately speaks up from his cot, in his deep voice carrying his fierce loyalty. You would have known anyways. Nobody maps for mythical underground monsters when they set camping coordinates, dude. There we go. To be completely honest, the ancient mountain water nymph, seeing a powerful star metal scholar who had just single-handedly turned the tide against a brutal centaur war party, suddenly blames himself for the movements of the primordial earth that is deeply moving. They don't see a failure, they see an honorable guardian who cares deeply about the safety of their home. Here is what the three nymph sisters would actually say in your moment of guilt. Narina, the comforting touch. The middle sister. Her cool hands gently press into your shoulders, finishing the application of a soothing balm with a reassuring squeeze. She says softly, her blue eyes filled with absolute warmth. Do not let your heart grow dark with how could you count the ancient sleepers in the world that you have never walked? I have a hair surface because that's where the blood was being spilled. You saw my sister bleeding and you became our shield. An idiot does not risk his flesh to drag a stranger beneath his roof. You are a protector, not a prophet. Oh my god, I have an itchy in my nose. Cynthia, the youngest sister. She stomps her sandal on a microplate floor, still holding Jordan's crossbow tightly under her arm. You are not an idiot, you weird scholar. I have a hair like right there. If you had not set your coordinates to this exact spot, Era would be dead. Nara and I would have been in Brack's chains, and this valley would belong to the monsters. So your mechanical music break and your ironstones woke up the giant worms. Good, let them wake. You gave me a weapon that makes me strike down predators with the click of my finger. I will face the deep, just like we faced the ridge. Era, the eldest sister. The 7-foot protective nymph steps forward, her dark silver chain bikini catching the light of the tent as she looks down at you with immense, unyielding respect. Hear me, small scholar. The Jirachi belong to the earth, but this valley belongs to us. You did not invite them. Your great deeds merely echoed too loudly for the dark to ignore. You have honored the laws of hospitality with your blood and your star medal. She looks at Jordan, then back at your bruised back. If the mountainside shatters beneath us, we do not banish you. We stand with you. Your dark warrior is right. You could not have calculated to sleep with Tartarus. Save your energy for the fight ahead. As Ira finishes speaking, a sudden violent shudder rocks the high tent. The Bluetooth boombox slides an inch across the table, and the pop music finally cuts out entirely, leaving the only sound of the rushing wind outside. The microplate floor flashes of light pulsing red alert as the subterranean vibrations turn into deadly grinding roar directly beneath your campsite. Okay, so here's where things are going to get interesting, guys. The sudden terrifying grinding noises from the deep trenches cut off as abruptly as they started. The mountain gravel falls completely still, and your smartphone's microplate floor drops alert from flashing red to a quiet. Did that guy nearly hit us? I really picked a weird spot. Grinding weirding noises. Okay, I already said all that. You stand up from your carbon fiber cot, completely unfazed by the close call. Your analytical mind immediately prioritizing your schedule. Sorry, guys, that's just too funny. Narina looks up at you, her pale face full of utter confusion as she wipes the residual CBD oil from her fingers. Small scholar, the earth worlds have seized their assault. What are you doing? I'm making lunch. I hope the blender doesn't break. I hope the blender didn't break. You said smoothly in your soft voice. You march over to the high-tech kitchen setup. You inspect the electronic blender. Thankfully, the entire thing is undamaged by the mechanic shifts. You tap the power button and the high-power blaze with a couple of times. The sudden deafening whirr of the machine cutting the ice and nuts to fills the damaged tent, causing all three nymphs to leap backward in shock. You pour Jordan his recovery shake and pass it on to his cot. Then you blend your own. A thick, dense mix of chocolate, whey protein powder, creatine powder, rich walnuts, a cold banana, and milk. With the shakes done, you pull a flawless I got a piece of hair in my mouth. Oh, God. I literally a draft of wind right here, so as I'm brushing, never mind. You pour okay, I already read that part. With the shakes done, you pull a flawless loaf of sliced white bread, a jar of creamy peanut butter, and a jar of sweet grape jelly from your large food cooler. You lay them out on the camp table and carefully demonstrate the step-by-step geometry of spreading the toppings to make a perfect PBJ sandwich. To be completely honest, to an ancient mountain water nymphs, this entire sequence is the most bewildering, magical domestic display they have ever witnessed. They have just prepared to die in a subterranean apocalypse, and instead they're being given a culinary lecture on sticky brown paste and crushed purple fruits. Cynthia, the absolute terror of the blender. When the blender first roared to life, Cynthia shrieked and held Jordan's crossbow like a club, convinced that you had tripped a small, furious demon inside a glass jar. Oh my God, that is so funny. That is so funny. Once she sees the sandwich, her fear turns to pure childish ecstasy. She takes a bite of the PB&J sandwich as her light blue eyes pragmatically pop out of her head. It is sticky like the sap of the sacred pines, yet sweet like the honey of Mount Hymettus. She gasps, her teal hair swaying as she chews. In the bread, it is cut into perfect, identical flats, that an invisible blade sliced the grain before it was baked. Narina, the middle sister. The scientific evaluation. She watches you measure out the brown powder and walnuts with absolute fascination. She takes the solid sip of your chocolate protein shake and blushes deeply at the rich, velvety texture. It tastes of the exotic beans of the southern lands, yet it has the thickness of a dense cream. Your world tames the wild fruits and grinds them into a dust that feeds the muscles instantly. It is a miracle drop. Ah. Era, the eldest sister. The grudging acceptance. The 7-foot protective giant crosses her massive arms over her dark silver chain bikini top, staring at the jar of peanut butter with deep, heavy suspicion. You mortals are entirely mad, she rumbles, her Riverstone voice echoing through the holes of the fabric tent. The very pillars of the mountain groan with the walking of ancient terrors beneath our sandals. Oh, this is what she's saying. The very pillars of the mountain groan with the walking of ancient terrors beneath our sandals. And you merely shrug your gray jacket, curse your spinning glass machine, and spread crushed nuts upon soft white wheat. You have no fear of the deep. She takes a sandwich from the table, bites it, and pauses, though it is remarkably filling for war rations. Don't worry, guys, it gets funnier, trust me. Jordan leans back on his cot, lazily sipping his protein shake through a straw while Narina cleans up his bandages. A massive grin breaks across his mature face as he watches the 7-foot water giant casually munching on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. See, RJ? Actually, Jordan really never says my name. Like, see? Jordan rumbles in his deep voice. I told you they'd like your weird habits. You just pacified the local nature spirits with grade school comfort food. Oh, yeah. You reach into your supplies. You pull a single 5-milligram gummy from the bag and pop it into your mouth. The sweet flavor is a welcome relief from your analytical mind prepares to finalize crash to let the adrenaline crash out of your system. Cynthia stops chewing her PB&J sandwich. Her light blue eyes locking on to your brightly colored candy. She tilts her teal colored haired head with intense curiosity. What is that tiny glowing jewel of fruit you've just consumed, Scholar? Oh, that was a THC gummy, you explain in your soft voice. Entirely honest about your routine. It's only 5 milligrams, but I still get the buzz. I need it after what just happened. To be completely honest, as a playful, hyperactive, and deeply curious mountain water nymph, yes, Cynthia would definitely try one. Nymphs are creatures of nature, and in ancient Greek mythology is packed with stories of satyrs, nymphs, and gods consuming enchanted plants, lotus flowers, and divine wines to alter their spirits and connect with the earth. The idea of a tiny, perfectly shaped jewel that grants a relaxing buzz after a brutal battle would sound like a magical sacred herb of your futuristic world. Cynthia, the youngest sister. Cynthia's eyes sparkle as she sets her sandwich down. She bounces on her heels, her silver blue chain bikini top catching the ambient light of the tent. A buzz? A tiny fruit that tames the heat of your rising emotions after the thunderbolts have fired. She steps right up to your carbon fiber cot, stretching her pale hands out. Oh, weird Scholar, please, let me taste one of these future nectar. My heart is still hammering like a stampeding horse from that centaur siege. If a tiny 5-milligram chew can bring peace to a mortal night, then let me see if it can calm the rushing current of my veins. Narina blushes slightly, looking at the bag in your hand, then back at your soft face. It is an herb of sleep, RJ? Like the poppies of the underworld? Be careful, Cynthia. The Scholar's world traps great forces in small vessels. We do not know if a daughter of the stream can withstand the buzz of this realm. Era. The strict warning. The 7-foot protective giant finishes her sandwich and frowns deeply. Her Riverstone voice echoing through the torn fabric of the tent. Cynthia, do not beg for the traveler's enchanted sweets. He uses it to heal his mind after taking a seed spike to the spine It is a warrior's medicine, not a playground treat. Jordan lets out a massive booming laugh from his cot, nearly spilling the rest of his protein shake. He looks at you with a wide smile on his mature face. Dude, Jordan rumbles, you're about to introduce a mythological water nymph to cannabis edibles. If she gets the giggles like you, this scent's gonna turn into a complete madhouse. You reach into the bag with your black and gray glove. You pull out a brightly colored treat, and you drop it into Cynthia's waiting hand. Hey, Narina, Era, if you want one, let me know. Jordan doesn't care for them, you say in your soft voice, extending the offer with genuine hospitality. Jordan sits back comfortably on his cot, nursing his bandaged shoulder with a smirk. It's really his thing, he rumbles pragmatically in his deep voice, confirming his total lack of interest in the edibles. Cynthia beams with delight, admiring the tiny squishy jewel before popping it straight into her mouth. Narina and Era watch her closely, still too stunned by the concept to accept their own just yet. Meanwhile, high above the clouds, a dramatic change has taken place on Mount Olympus. Dionysus, the god of wine, festive ecstasy, and altered states, has officially nudged his way past the other gods to spy on your camp. He stares into the shimmering pool of divine sight, his eyes wide, a lazy, brilliant smile spreading across his face as he locks onto your vat of edibles. To be completely honest, as a god of pure reverie and magical plants, he would be an absolute ecstatic and incredibly jealous of your futuristic stash. Dionysus, the god of wine and ecstasy. Move aside, Ares. Quiet down, Hera. You bicker around about Aryan arrows and torn fabric while a true masterpiece of divine foliage is being unreeled right beneath your noses. Look at the small gray style look at what the small gray scholar holds. It is not a heavy jar of crushed grapes that leaves the head splitting by tomorrow's sun. He calls it a THC gummy, a tiny soft ruby of concentrated green magic. It needs no grand festivals or massive amphoras. He simply places a 5 milligram jewel upon his tongue and lets his spirit float into a state of absolute unbothered calm. And he just handed one to little Cynthia. He shares his sacred future herbs with the daughters of the spring. Look at her chew it. Hermes, you fool. You went down there and traded priceless artifacts for cardboard box of cheese biscuits when you should have brought back a pouch of those glowing green treats. I will trade a mountain of my finest vineyards just to get a taste of a single one. Zeus. The Dark Warrior Jordan completely rejects his magic fruit. He watches his companion consume it and merely shrugs his shoulders, claiming it is his thing. They are entirely unpredictable. One warrior fights with stone-faced steel, and the other calms his raging mind with tiny enchanted candies. Inside the tent, 12 o'clock p.m. Back inside your high-tech tent, slightly damaged tent. Cynthia finishes chewing, the high-energy pop music in the background as she stills completely still, her teal hair swaying as she waits for the future nectar to take effect. Because nymphs are made of environmental energy, the small amount of the edible is going to react with their water spirit biology very quickly. It's 12:05. Your smartphone clicks over. Your gummy has fully kicked in, delivering a heavy, fuzzy wave of relaxation that completely numbs the deep purple bruise on your back. You lay flat on your carbon fiber cot, your analytical mind melting into a delightfully lazy headspace as you snuggle into your blanket. Through the massive jagged holes brought toward into the fabric, you can see the bright Greek sky. The crisp air conditioning is escaping rapidly, and yet you can't bring yourself to care. We should probably patch those holes, but I don't want to get up right now. You announce to the tent, your soft voice trailing off into the series of uncontrolled quiet giggles. Jordan looks over from his cot, a massive growing grin breaking across his face as he recognizes your classic high state. You did remember to bring the repair kit, right? He asks. You stare up at the dull gray ceiling, your autism and ADD locking into the phonetics of the vocabulary. I think so. It should be in the storage container. You say slowly. You pause. Blinking. Container. Container. What a weird word. It sounds like contain her. You finish before you break out into multiple soft, uncontrollable giggles at your own wordplay. Jordan lets out a deep booming chuckle, thoroughly entertained by your dorky train of thought. You're a dork. He rumbles in his deep voice before letting out genuine giggles of his own. The nymph's absolute confusion, Cynthia's reaction. Standing near the doorway, Cynthia's own gummy is beginning to interact with her water spirit biology. She tilts her teal-haired head, holding your blue boxes in her hand, staring at you and Jordan with wide, completely bewildered eyes. The scholar speaks to the walls of containers and women. She whispers to her sisters, for the future suite has turned her tongue into a river of nonsensical riddles. Narita covers her mouth, her pale cheeks flushing crimson as she watches you giggle on the bed. They laugh in the face of the broken walls. She feels it softly. She muses softly. Their sanctuary is ruined, yet they share amusement like children at a feast. I'm crying right now, guys, because this is just so funny and stupid. Ira's grudge melts. The 7-foot protective giant stands near the broken window, her massive arms crossed over her dark Jane silver bikini top. She looks down at your relaxed, unarmored frame and lets out a heavy Riverstone sigh. The terrifying, man-hating warrior cannot help but soften completely how utterly harmless and joyous you are right now. Up on Mount Olympus, Dionys is practically falling into the divine pool with laughter, raising a goblet of wine to your brilliant wordplay. Ares is groaning loudly, completely insulted at the mighty star metal warrior is laying on a cot giggling about the work container, while Aphrodite is cooling of how absolutely adorable your soft-voiced giggles are. Jordan shakes his head, leaning back against his cot to let his bandaged shoulder rest. The pop music continues to fill the warm air at the punctured tent, creating the lazy, peaceful bubble in the middle of ancient Greece. Let's see. To be completely honest, since Cynthia is a 5'9" mountain water nymph whose physical form is made of pure invincible energy, the 5 milligram THC gummy is going to hit her system incredibly fast with a uniquely mystical effect. Unlike the human body, that processes cannabinoids through the liver and the bloodstream, her liquid biology absorbs the concentrated plant essence directly into her spiritual current. Within 10 minutes, her hyperactive, bouncy, teal-colored energy completely slows to a gentle, serene crawl. Cynthia suddenly stops pacing. Her pale legs feel heavy, like her feet are turning back into the smooth riverbed stones. Her silver blue chain bikini top on her chest begins to move slowly as her breathing deepens, matching the slow pulsing rhythm of Jordan's pop music. Her sharp, alert, light blue eyes suddenly soften into a wide, peaceful gaze. The terrifying memory of the 20 Centaur siege completely melts out of her brain, replaced by an intense fascination with the air-conditioned tent. As you and Jordan finish giggling about the work container, Cynthia slowly takes a step towards your carbon fiber cot. She holds her blue boxers in her hand, staring down at the soft fabric with a massive, goofy, unblinking smile on her face. She speaks in a soft, dreamy, melodic whisper that sounds like low-moving summer brook. Oh, weird scholar, the future drool has dissolved into my waters. The current in my veins is no longer crashing against the rocks. It is floating. It feels like a warm sunbeam is sleeping inside my chest. She turns her head slowly toward the Bluetooth boombox, her teal hair swaying in slow motion. The music brick, its invisible notes aren't just loud anymore. They have shapes. They are bouncing off the slate walls like tiny blue frogs. They are friendly frogs, very friendly frogs. Her ultimate realization. She looks down at the soft blue boxers in her hands, her eyes widening with profound high realization. She looks at you, entirely serious but completely stoned. Scholar, I understand the riddle of your honor garments now. These blue breeches aren't for the head. They are meant to trap the air so the hips can fly. Jordan's wrong. You are not a dork. You are a wizard of the soft clouds. The tent reactions. Narina gasps softly, quickly stepping over to her younger sister. Cynthia, your eyes are as white as full moons, she whispers, blushing deeply as her cheeks, her sister's pale forehead. What has the scholar's future candidate done to your spirit? Ira stands by the ruptured window, her 7-foot frame completely frozen over her dark shoulder chain bikini, as she watches her hyperactive little sister space out into pop music. The massive man-eating water giant looks at you, then at Cynthia, utterly speechless on how your 5 milligram edible completely disarmed a mythical guardian. Jordan lets out a massive, deep-voiced chuckle from his cot, shaking his head. Told you, RJ. You broke the nymph. Look at her. She's staring at your underwear like it's the Oracle of Delphi. You blink slowly from your carbon fiber cot. Your analytical mind momentarily short-circuiting as the 5 milligram gummy keeps you completely relaxed and wrapped in your blanket. Who's Delphi? You ask, your soft voice laced with pure unbothered confusion. You pause for a fraction of a second before letting out a soft, quiet giggle at the unfamiliar name. I actually do got a decent amount of this left, but I will have to be getting off soon, guys. Jordan immediately lets out a deep voiced chuckle, rubbing his forehead against his bandaged shoulder. Not who, dude. What? He rumbles. The Oracle of Delphi. You know, the famous ancient Greek temple where the priestess inhaled weird vapor from the rocks and speaking crazy riddles. I'm saying Cynthia looks exactly like them right now. Cynthia doesn't even notice Jordan's explanation. She is still completely still in her silver blue bikini top, staring at your blue boxers as they contain the secrets of the universe. Delphi has blue breeches, she whispers dreamily. Her teal. Delphi has only smoke. The Scholar's Temple has winter wind and friendly blue music frogs. Narina blushes deeply, giggling softly at your confusion. She gently takes Cynthia by the arm. Come, sister, the future suite has made your legs like river clay. Let us sit you in a scholar's black woven throne, for you melt into the floor plates. She safely guides the high nymph over to your carbon fiber lawn chairs. The 7-foot protective giant watches Cynthia sink into the lightweight chair with a massive goofy smile. Ira crosses her arms over her dark silver chain bikini, completely defeated by the peaceful, ridiculous atmosphere. The pop music continues to blast happily from the Bluetooth boombox. The view from Olympus. All right, this is going to be the last part, guys, for this part. Up on Mount Olympus, the divine pool is in absolute uproar, and Dionysus is practically falling into the river with the water with delight. Did you hear the small gray scholar? Who's Delphi? He asks. He is sitting on the very heart of ancient Greece, completely high on his own future gems. He has entirely forgotten my father's most famous oracle. This is the true freedom of the spirit. He has bypassed the priests and the temples entirely. Zeus, the mortal knight, defeats my centaurs, teaches the daughter of the crags to wield a thunderbow, and now he reduces her to a state of dreamy slowness while forgetting the geography of my empire. He is a magnificent dork. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream, and thank you guys for watching. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Do you have 100 people watching?